Hello guys, Brian back here with another Singularity Agix update. We are continuing on this uptrend. We are the support rate in here. If we zoom in here on the daily, you can see that 200 moving average. We have bounced off that beautifully. All right, we have this trend line started down here. That thing is riding it up beautifully. It could actually pull back to 25 cents and still be on trend. All right, we're still setting. Today we have set another higher high on the daily, all right, and we still had a lower low than yesterday, but we have got our higher high. Okay, all right. If this thing closes higher than yesterday, that's all that matters. All right, then we'll have our higher low in there. So things are looking pretty nice with this. We're running into. We're gonna have our first resistance area there. Right about 0.278, right in that zone. Okay, we break through 28 cents, and we have cleared that. All right, if we zoom out on this thing, you know, I'm sure a lot of people are frustrated with this thing, including me. All right, this downfall here, kind of everybody was scratching their heads and wondering why this thing did nothing but roll over, especially when the daily RSI was reset, you know, way back here, you know. So what ended up happening here, I believe, you know, when you have a breakout of a coin, you always come back and retest that breakout as support. All right, we broke out of there on February 3rd, and finally on May 8th we came back and retested that area. And that's what they always you know, kind of like trading 101, never buy big green candles, wait for the pullback. All right, you're always going to get a pullback there. If you go back and look through charts, look at breakout points, it's always come back and closed the gap and retested it. So we did do that retest, and quite honestly, unless Bitcoin has a major breakdown here, I think we have hit a bottom. All right, so if we go through this on the RSIs, you know, we have our 50 moving average coming up there right around, you know, 34 cents or so right now, whereas these things are gapped pretty far apart. Usually they will, you know, they'll close that gap here. You know, you don't see these things. Of course, it pulled way apart through here, but normally you see them pretty close together, so they're tightening up here. You definitely see that happen over the next few days. If price rises up, we'll get that 200 moving up to meet that 50 up here somewhere. So that daily RSI is about 3/4 of the way up, but on the regular RSI, it's only at a 42 down here, right? If we go through the weekly, that's the one that gets me excited, guys. That weekly RSI is finally at the bottom, and I went through what these gains were the other day. Each time, you know, we've had a run up on the weekly RSI. You know, there was 120%. Of course, this massive one here, even this one in here that doesn't look like a whole lot, from the bottom to the top was 338%. So the weekly can give you some nice returns for sure. All right, so we'll definitely it's good to see that at the bottom. It has done a bullish cross. It's at 2.24 and 0.75. All right, now if we go through the RSIs, the 12-hour is at the top on the stochastic. On the regular RSI, we're at a 52. All right, so it just crossed over the 50 zone down there. You can see that the dotted line is the 50. So that thing is looking like it might need a little bit of a correction there. The 8-hour looks like about the same, but it has actually turned back up. You can see that the 8-hour stochastic has turned back up on here. All right, if we go through the lower time frames, the 4 hours just turned up, and the 1 hour is just about to the top there. All right, so this thing is definitely looking good and bullish. All right, Bitcoin obviously has a lot to do with that right now. Bitcoin is having a bounce. Let's take a quick look at that, because it could have possibly found a bottom in here. All right, Bitcoin, let's get back to the daily on Bitcoin here. All right, you can see the moving averages on Bitcoin have pulled way far apart. All right, this is on the daily. We got the 50 way up here and the 200 way down here. All right, so that usually, like I said, you'll usually see that tighten up. Okay, you can see anytime they pull apart is when there's either a massive price increase or a massive fall down, all right, where they split apart like that. But you can see how they squeeze back together. All right, so I expect that, let's see here, we might run into that 50 moving average. It's going to run into it there, right up. Let's look here, 28,500 bucks. That's the next major resistance there for Bitcoin. It has a trend line that looks like it's extending out here. Okay, it's kind of just projecting it out there, which once it gets out there, of course, if it makes it up to 28,500, we will have our third touch, and it would be a valid trend line. So we'll see what happens with that. But right now on the daily RSI, that thing is at the bottom and turning up. So things are looking all right with Bitcoin. I hope we ended up hitting that low right there at 25.8. So hopefully that was the bottom. All right, no guarantees. A lot of people expect it to come down to 24.3 to 25.2 area, anywhere through there, and then bounce from there. So we'll have to see what happens. All right, that DXY, the dollar, that's another thing we're keeping an eye on here. That thing is almost up to the 618 Fibonacci here, which let me zoom into the daily so I can show you here a little tighter. Keeping an eye on this. A rising dollar means falling crypto prices. All right, so we're watching for that 618, that's 702, the 103.9. If we get a rejection from there, then we can see crypto heading up. But as long as this normally is going up, normally means crypto is coming down. All right, the daily RSI on the Dixie is at the top. It's just actually turned bearish at 90.24 and a 91.31. It's not a bearish flip there. The thing that concerns me is that weekly right there. All right, the weekly RSI is just turned up on this thing. So if that daily ends up correcting, this thing could roll over. I've been looking at a 5-wave Elliott wave possibly down on this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll have to see how it plays out, but Singularity right now is looking pretty good, guys. Thank you so much. Please hit the like and subscribe, and have a great night. I'll talk to you very soon.